Hello and welcome back to the Real Music Talks. Today's guest is Iota, a five-piece band from Bristol. How you guys doing?
Yeah, good, good.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Man. Yeah, good.
Good, it's good to hear it. So when I was listening to you, I was thinking I don't really know like where it fits in terms of style. Could you kind of describe like how you sound? So like someone that's never heard your band before, what would you say to them?
It's like the toughest question to
Yeah.
answer. I don't know. We kind of normally plonk ourselves kind of in alternative rock. It's kind of broad, I suppose. But we all listen to like quite different music within the band, but seem to kind of come together and make something as a unit. So yeah, I don't know, because like our drummer's like super into pop punk, and other people in the band are sort of more into kind of like indie and sort of classic rock kind of stuff, and there's more modern music, and then sort of like techno and house and all that kind of stuff. So like there's little bits of inspiration that kind of come from everywhere. But I think sort of as a sort of umbrella, I think we probably say alt rock. Is that what you guys would think as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a broad genre to put us in.
Yeah, I know. Can you specify, Joe? Can you drill down?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, like I can give artists that I think personally we sound like, and then a mixture of, or we aim for, and the way our new songs are produced and stuff. I feel like it's very early 2000s rock. Like our vocalist Jodie, she's got a really nice, like strong, gritty vocal, which I feel like is quite rare for like a female-fronted vocalist. So yeah, maybe like Queens of the Stone Age. Yeah, female-fronted Queens of the Stone Age with a bit of like modern, like Bring Me the Horizon kind of production to it. Maybe. Does that sound about right?
No,
Yeah,
I think that
something
sums
like
up. Yeah. So I think this is quite a good one to do like individually. So do you want to talk about like how you first got into music and kind of like a brief summary of like your musical journey?
I like.
Who wants to go first?
Yo.
Yeah, all right, then, go on. Wasn't really into music at all till I was about 16. Like, I had absolutely no interest. And I was like, oh, girls like people in bands. That didn't really work out, but oh well. And yeah, just kind of went from there. Went to like uni. Went to college. Went to uni. Met these guys and kind of went from that point, really.
Nice.
Joe?
All right. So what did I do? My like earliest memory is probably like having in like my lounge when I was younger. We had like this hi-fi system, and we would have back doors that opened out into our garden. And me and my younger brother would like get these lightsabers, these like toy lightsabers, have them like wide open, and we'd put like Pink Floyd vinyls on and just blast it super loud and like air guitar to our garden, which we thought was the crowd. And that's like my earliest memory of like really loving music and just thinking I was the bee's knees performing to my dog and some plants. And then yeah, like went to college, just left high school, went straight to college to do music, came to uni to do music. Kind of yeah, branched out. Like when I was younger I loved rock, and then I branched out, and when I was at uni I was like, do I do the jazz thing, do I do the function band thing, which I do really enjoy. But then yeah, when I had the opportunity to join the band, I was like, you know what, rock's always been that thing in me that I love to bits, and what really gives me that buzz when I play music. So now I'm here rocking out.
Rock and roll, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like I grew, both my parents are musicians, so I kind of like always grew up around it. And sort of was always never like forced to, but always encouraged to kind of play music from a young age, and I kind of just always gravitated towards it. And then me and Mule actually went to college together. And then once we finished college, neither of us really knew that we were going to end up going to the same uni. And And it just so happened that after a couple of years that we ended up back at the same place, and kind of bumped into each other. And that was kind of like started off Iota, sort of like very sort of infancy, and just started jamming and started putting everybody together and whatnot. And yeah, and now we're here.
So after those like initial jams, like how did the band kind of formulate and develop from there?
So it started off with me, Mule, and a guitarist who's no longer in the band. And it just kind of started off as kind of like a social thing where we'd meet up once or twice a week and just jam. And after a while, we kind of started getting some tracks together, and we were like, oh, it might be actually cool to try and make something out of this. And so then we started trying out singers and drummers, and we did go through quite a lot of people. I think we knew what we wanted, and it was just a matter of sort of going out there and finding it, really. And then eventually, I think it was funny because Jodie was in our university as well, but we'd never met her before, and we actually found her on a website called like joinmyband.com or something like that. Yeah, posted like an advert for that on there, and got in touch with her, and she came, and like perfect fit kind of thing. And then Tom was a friend of one of our friends as well. He's a drummer, and was just kind of like perfect for what we wanted. We'd had people who we played with before, sort of drum wise and stuff, who like all respectively like really good drummers, but I don't know, Tom just kind of had what we sort of wanted. And I think as well, sort of one thing that we've all found is that it's been really nice that we're all sort of as into it as each other. We're all on the same page as each other, and it can be quite difficult to find bands where everybody's equally as into it, everybody's on the same page, everybody wants the same thing, and all these kind of things. So once we kind of found that everybody was sort of in the same place, it was kind of it was a good match.
For sure. I mean, from my own experiences, finding everyone on the same page is the hardest thing. You always have like one or two people that are pulling in a different direction, or they've got other plans, or they've got other commitments and stuff like that, and it's always very difficult. So you guys went to BIM, did you?
Yes.
Bristol?
Yeah, we all did. Yeah.
Do you want to talk to us a little bit about that experience and like how you found it?
Yeah. Do you want me to do this? Take this?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was Bristol as a city sold it for me. Like when I was looking at unis, I went around loads of different places, and as soon as I came to Bristol, the open day was at Thekla, so because I think they were having work done on the building, so straight away like you're thrown in this venue. But so I pulled up in Thekla car park, had like an hour to spare, had breakfast with my dad on the mud dock on the cafe on like the rooftop terrace, just having this cooked breakfast. Like, this is sick already. Compared to all my other ones where you just get handed, like, leave a car park, handed like a leaflet about the uni, walk around some lectures that you don't care about. So yeah, I went, sat on the mud dock, had breakfast, went into the Thekla, and like you'd walk around the boat and like kind of see different courses, and then yeah, I had a chat with a few different guitarists there, and they all seemed to love it. And then they put on a gig with some students, and I was like, yeah, this is the place I want to be. So yeah, went there, and it was good. It's definitely what you put in, so what you get out of it, or I don't know. It's just relies. I don't know. It's very like personalized. Like, as you go through it, you kind of pick and choose your way through. So like your decisions kind of depend on where you end up. Because like you can choose to like, I don't know, be sensible and choose a module that you might not enjoy, and then you end up just hating a module, or you can just go through it, picking and choosing what you actually like. But yeah, I don't know. I really had a good time there. I feel like it set me up all right for the real world.
Yeah, no, I definitely learned a lot there. My guitar playing stuff came on massively whilst I was there. But they also do a lot of sort of events and stuff for bands to try and kind of promote up and coming bands, and they do these end of term gigs, and in the middle they also do these shows where it's only like one track per artist, but it gives them a chance, and they invite sort of like record labels and publishers, all this kind of thing. So it gives you an opportunity to kind of start putting yourself out to the real world and start getting sort of attention. And they've got a lot of connections with festivals as well, which has been really good for us. And it's allowed us to kind of get some more exposure and just kind of get our name out there a little bit more, and get us into a few places that we may well sort of have got there at some point, but I don't think we probably would have got there as quick. And it's been a nice little opener for us, really. And we really appreciate what they've done for us on the band front. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely, like, for the band, it's been really helpful. Like, the amount of help they gave us with all that kind of stuff was just crazy. In terms of like personal kind of that side of things, I think it's definitely what you put into it. Because, yeah, I didn't put much into it and didn't really get much out of it. Playing wise, yeah, I think I improved to some extent, definitely. But yeah, could probably put more effort into it, to be honest with you, especially like third year. Just non-existent for me.
Don't be like Mule.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, like different people choosing like different routes, especially like if you're trying to get somewhere in music, like a lot of people think, is it worth actually going to uni and taking a course? But I do think like the networking side of it is probably worth more than what you learn anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And all the contacts and that you have from it just makes a lot of sense. And obviously for you guys forming the band and that,
Yeah, exactly what's going to happen.
So what does your creative process look like? So when you have a new song come in, does the vocalist bring lyrics? Like, does one of you write a guitar riff? What does that look like, and how has that evolved over time?
So originally it started with everything would start off jamming in a room, but then I was just say, so Jodie's over lockdown, she got this studio which she converted. It was like her lockdown project. It's called Omni Rooms, and in there it's got a live room and a control room. So our sessions, we kind of switch it up and do like one day of the week in the control room, like demoing and even writing in a computer. But then the other day, like on the second day of the week, we'll be in the live room jamming stuff out. So it kind of chops and changes. I think the one like common denominator is we all write together. We work on songs. It's not like one person brings a guitar riff really, or one person comes in with lyric ideas. I think most of our parts, like we play some in like a spur of the moment part, and then we kind of craft it together. We're like, we're quite brutally honest with each other, and we're just like, don't do that. But then when something's right, we all latch onto it, and then we gradually work it into something we're all very happy with. And that's the same in the control room and in the live room. Really, it's a similar process, but just in different environments.
Yeah, we have experiment. We've kind of like done it kind of a bit strangely as well, though. Sometimes, where we've had Tom, who's sort of programmed sort of 3.5 minutes worth of drums, and just kind of that was it, and just like plonked it on and said sort of write something to it, and we sort of done things off of that. So it's it kind of it does kind of change a little bit here and there as well, which is good. It's always good to kind of switch it up a little bit, and I think it kind of it can sometimes inspire things that you probably wouldn't have sort of stumbled across otherwise, which is cool.
Yeah, I think some of it's weird. Like some of our best tracks have been ones where it's like we'll have been rehearsing another song or whatever, and someone will just be noodling something random, and then someone will latch onto it and be like, "Oh, actually, that sounds really cool. Can you repeat that?" And then we just build a song out of it.
So after you found that little nugget or like little idea and you lock into it, like how does it develop from there? Do you kind of like jam out the rest of the song, like experiment with different changes and stuff like that?
Yeah, we jam it out, experiment with different changes, and usually end up with something by the end of that session that is something we're kind of happy with. But like maybe we'll all go home the next day, listen to it, and probably all come back with like 10 sheets of A4, just like this needs to change, this needs to change. I don't like that, I don't like that. And then we get to it the next session, and it's the original idea is gone by that point, and it's just something completely different. So but yeah, we just kind of play the idea lots and lots, and then gradually it just turns into this different thing.
Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, even if you're sort of like just jamming it together, and then everybody kind of, without saying anything or kind of like preempting anything, just kind of goes on to this next part, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool, that kind of worked quite well, and then you will kind of try and decipher what it was you were just doing, even though it was kind of sort of unconscious to some degree. And then you kind of like start to pick that up. But one of the good things about being able to sit in front of a computer and do it like that is you're able to kind of focus on what it is that you've been doing a little bit more. Because when you're playing live, sort of in a room with everybody, you kind of get lost in it a little bit, and it can be hard to be sort of objective about things.
Yeah,
and it
you're more focused in on your own part.
Yeah, and like you just
remembering what to play
as well.
Yeah,
and you just sort of like enjoying it as well. And so it's not until, like, you know, we do a lot of sort of the kind of foundation and the sort of like primary ideas of something sort of in the live room, but then sort of when we sort of come to the computer, it's like, okay, we can change this, we can change that, and it gives us the opportunity to kind of sit back and properly listen to it, instead of kind of being in it and trying to do it like that, which is quite helpful.
And it gives us I feel like it gives us a quicker workflow to get into the finished products, rather than like jamming something out in a room and it feeling good in the room, and then you go and play a gig. We have quite a nice way to kind of just hear it, and just while we're all sat on the sofa listening to our song, and then we can be like, right, is it there or is it not? And like, I know the last song that we've been working on, we've like rewrote about 4 times, haven't we? And still
we're almost there.
We're almost there.
It's not the finished product yet, though.
Let's talk about that a little bit, actually. So, like, do you ever get into any like sort of hurdles in terms of being more like perfectionist? Because you could keep rewriting a song forever. So, like, at what point do you say it's finished, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
I don't
when
really
we're all
know.
happy, and that's
Yeah.
it does take till we're all happy, but we are getting there. I feel like we're getting a bit better at it.
Some of our songs literally keep being changed until we record them, until I like professionally record in the studio. They'll be,
and then they can't change.
I mean, they still change in the studio as well. Like,
but like with our last EP, our producer then was just saying, right, no, this is done now. We're finished. Like, no more changes. And I think it's kind of good to be able to have that person just be like, no, that's it, you're done. And you're just kind of like, okay, cool. Because as you said, you know, you can change it. You can just keep on going and going and going and going. But no, I think we do get to quite a kind of mutual place of kind of satisfaction with a tune, I think.
And sometimes we get an outsider's opinion, and it just like spins all our heads, and we're like, "Oh no, it's not as good as we thought it was." When we all agreed that it was good, and then we're back to the drawing board.
Yeah, it's like getting outsiders' opinions, especially people that you respect as well. It's like a double-edged sword, because you're like, "Oh, it's great because they're helping us out," but then it also kind of sends you, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is just a load of crap."
Yeah, I guess like everyone's always going to have like a different perspective, and you got to be open to that. And obviously, not everyone's going to like your music. Some people are going to love it. Some people might like songs that you didn't expect. That quite often happens. You think this one's going to be the hit, and then actually it's another song that ends up being the pop one.
Yeah.
well, like our last EP. I mean, when we went to record that first EP, I think only one of the songs was actually on the EP. Was actually one we chose to go in there with. All the others were songs we were going to be like, oh, well, maybe we'll try this. Maybe we won't actually use it or whatever. But then we actually played them to the producer, and he was like, "Oh no, these are definitely got to go on the EP." Like, I was like, "Oh, okay, great."
Yeah, it's quite strange. We went in with a completely different idea of what it was going to sound like, what tracks were going to be on it, and it kind of took this outside opinion, and we were like, "Okay, cool." Everything's completely changed.
Yeah, I guess as an artist that helps you in those senses, because it can take you like outside of your comfort zone or consider like a different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously, like it's been quite a challenging time for the music industry over the last like year and a half. It'd be interesting to hear like how you guys have dealt with that, maybe as a band and also personally.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, we're
Mm.
lucky we've had the yeah, Jody's built the studio, so that's been a nice home for us when we've been allowed to go there, and it's definitely kept us going because we've been seeing each other twice a week. Coming out of that, so that like, having the excitement of that as well, kind of coming out of lockdown, we were like, oh yeah, let's get to this new space. But yeah, it's definitely weird because it was intense before that. We just finished. We were on tour in March, I think, end of March last year. Literally just before, maybe like the 9th to the 10th or something, or around that time. And lockdown was like the 21st or something. So we went straight from like driving around the country playing shows to being back home. Well, I was back home with my family in Birmingham, and and then yeah, we kind of just had group calls and stuff, didn't we? And tried to like just keep spirits high and support each other. And then as soon as we could, we tried to get back to it.
Yeah, we didn't we tried not to sort of stagnate too much. It was kind of we were trying to do what we could to keep a little bit going, kind of thing, and even if it was just sending like a couple of ideas or whatever,
Right,
or
demos.
like Joe said, you know, just having a chat with each other, just kind of keeping in touch with each other and stuff like that. And just coming up with new ideas and things like that. We did
shot some silly videos, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did like
Just
a
a little bit
cover
of
where
content
Joyce
and
was
stuff
sat on the
like
toilet playing one of our songs or something.
had my hair up in a towel and was in a kimono. Yeah, I looked good, to be fair. But we did it. I think it was it June or July? We started recording a couple of new singles.
July.
Yeah, so
Early
mid-lockdown,
July.
yeah, we went. Well, not mid-lockdown, but
Managed.
towards the end, we whenever that was, we managed to get some bit of studio time, and when I recorded 2 songs, which was really good.
But yeah, they're being we had a bit of delay with the vocals and stuff like that. So they've been done now. So hopefully they're going to be coming out sort of in the next couple of months or so, which will be cool. But yeah, no, I mean it's just kind of throughout it. I mean, as you know, as Joe said, we've been lucky because Jodie's got Omni Rooms. Hear that, everybody? Omni Rooms.
Book your rehearsals there.
Yeah, it's dope. It's just been a good spot for us to be able to go and sort of carry on rehearsing and stuff like that. We've been quite lucky with that because there's been quite a lot of bands I think have sort of just not been able to do it, and they've gone back home to their respective homes, like hometowns or whatever, and it's just kind of started to disperse a little bit. But we've been lucky enough that we've been able to kind of keep the momentum going. So. Has he disappeared? Oh.
Yeah, no, for sure. You guys have been lucky you've had that space to use. Has it affected like how have you found like gigging like pre-COVID? Have you played any gigs like since everything's open again?
No, I don't think so.
No, not yet. Don't think so.
Can't remember.
Not that I remember. No, we've got some coming up though. So we've got a little tour coming up in July from the 21st to the 29th. We're playing up in Stockport, Rotherham, St Helens, London, and
Bristol.
one other place. And then, well, there's one other place, and there's Bristol.
Is this Shropshire?
Shropshire, yeah.
I think so.
And then we've got Bristol on the 29th of July at Crofters Rights. So you can find tickets. Shameless plug. You can find tickets on our Instagram bio. Or if you type in Iota into ENTS24, you'll find them on there. It'd be good. It'd be so much fun. We did originally have the date booked for the 17th of July. And then obviously sort of last week it got pushed back to the 19th when we were going to be able to sort of have our freedom back. And so we were just 2 days within the release time, which was a bit of a bummer. But it's been moved to the 29th now. So we're looking forward to being able to get back on stage and play for everyone. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Thinking in like a different light, actually, I noticed your music videos are quite creative. Where did that kind of come from, and what's the approach to that?
I think a big part, like the imagery on the videos, was like Jody masterminded quite a lot of that. Like, I mean, yeah, I feel like that was definitely a big part. Was sort of Jody's sort of masterminding the idea behind it, and obviously all sort of come together to try and figure out how to do that, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's kind of sort of once you kind of establish sort of what the song's about, because you kind of throughout it all you kind of come up with ideas about, oh, you could do this, you could do that kind of thing. But then I suppose it's not really until the track is kind of finalized and put down and recorded and stuff like that you've got the full track, you've got what the song's about, and then you can kind of like start to sort of go into it. With like My Enemy and stuff like that, it was sort of about a lot of kind of media and stuff like that, and how it kind of plays a massive part in everybody's lives, sort of not necessarily in a positive way, and it's kind of trying to personify, I suppose, what it potentially does to people, and maybe what it does to people without them kind of realizing. And we were lucky enough that our producer put us in touch with a really good videographer, and we kind of hired out this weird ex-mental asylum and shot it in there, which was cool, and it did a lot for kind of what we were trying to portray as well, which was that was for My Enemy anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't in the band at this point, so I've got no clue what happened.
Definitely looking forward to recording some
Yeah.
of the newer videos and seeing how that
Can't
kind
wait
of
to
turns
do a
out.
new music video.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Let's talk about the future a little bit then. So, like, what's your guys' plans, and what is your approach from here? Take over the world.
Yeah, just release a few singles, get some videos out, and I build.
Sort of see
try and
how
build-
much
Yeah,
traction we can kind of
Yeah,
get
build
off the
momentum.
see how everything is going out of COVID, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, none of us really know how much like before it's going to be, whether or not that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. It's like, I mean, it's going to depend how much sort of traction we can get from a new track, maybe new videos, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna keep on doing what we do every week, I think, and it's kind of in our routine now. So yeah, see where that
Yeah.
takes us. Just doing that thing every week.
I think sort of, especially sort of next year as well, we really want to sort of try and get ourselves on a bunch of festivals, just to kind of start pushing ourselves out there to kind of a wider audience. We're going to go back into the studio in July, when we're going to start recording a new EP. And so hopefully off the back of that, sort of later on this year, we can hopefully do another tour, and just kind of like start building things back up again, because we were starting to get quite a bit of momentum together before COVID hit, and then it kind of all just kind of went away, as it did for everybody. So it's just kind of about sort of trying to build that back up now, and with festivals not really happening this year. I mean, there's a few going on, but I think we're hoping to try and get on a bunch next year, do a couple of tours, maybe another EP, an album, who knows?
Yeah, just release some good music and hopefully people will like it.
Yeah.
and then we can.
Please, someone like it.
No, I love your music, by the way. Like, so you definitely got a fan over here.
Oh, cheers, man.
We're
Thank
actually
you
nearly
very
out of
much.
time now. But is there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with? This is kind of like the open state where you can say what you want, pretty much.
We've kind of just plugged, haven't we? Come to our tour, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Bristol, definitely. And if you're in Rotherham, St Helens, London, if you're in London. And then, yeah, we've got a lot of new music coming. So hopefully the next year is going to be jam-packed with us feeding stuff off.
And support your local music scene. It needs it now.
Yes. Go to as many gigs as you can. Don't go to the pub, go to a gig. You can still get a pint at a gig.
Yeah. It needs it now more than ever. So do it.
Absolutely. I think that's a great message to leave everyone with. Nice one. It's been great chatting, guys. Great to meet you and appreciate your time.
Nice one. Cheers, Dan.
Thank you for having us, man.
Thank you very much.
Take care, guys. See you next time.
Nice one.
Next time,
Take
bye.
care. Stan. Cheers. Bye.